So the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that it starts scanning and seeing what things are on the network. And we're going to use that by using arrow_dump ng, and it's arrow_dump ng and then the name of your card, in our case WLAN0MON, and it will start scanning the networks out there. I'm going to let this run for about 30 seconds and you'll start seeing different networks popping in and out. Alright, so this has been scanning for about a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cancel the scan by hitting Control and C. And I'm going to leave that on the screen so we can talk about a couple of those things on there. So the first thing is this BSSID column, this first column. Now what are those things in that column? Well, they're MAC addresses. These are the MAC addresses of the various network cards that are doing talking to various base stations, wireless access points, or other devices if they're doing point-to-point. And so you can see here that we actually have the networks we were going to go after, which is wireless hacking WPA2. You can see wireless hacking, which is our WEP encryption one. And then you'll see some of my home networks, the Dion and the Dion guest. Now you also see some of my neighbors' networks. We have a guest one here for FBI VAN 331, which is my next door neighbor, and FBI VAN 331, which is encrypted with WPA2 because he doesn't want anybody using that one. And then you'll see this 330 is another neighbor. Lisa's Malibu, which is somebody's car, has a Wi-Fi spot in it. And you can see as it goes through the different things, including somebody's printer here that's sitting on the network. So now, what do we see next? If we look over here at this column, it is CH, and CH stands for channel. This is the channel that it's being operated over. Now, for most things, if you're using a 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, which is what we are, talking about wireless B, G, or N at this point, you're going to be using either channel 1, 6, or 11. And so right now we are set up to monitor those channels, and we're seeing that most people here are using either channel 1, channel 6, or channel 11. There are a couple that have chosen to use 8 and some that have chosen to use 5. Now that is usually because the device has auto-configured itself and it thought there was less interference there. We'll talk about those spectrums again in our theory lectures, but generally you're going to see people on 1, 6, and 11 to minimize the overlap with other channels in the area. Now the next column we want to look at is this ENC column, and I kind of skipped ahead here a few minutes ago, and you can see that stands for encryption. We have a WPA, WPA2, we have OPN, which stands for open, no encryption, WEP, which is wired equivalent privacy, which is what we're going to be hacking shortly here. And then again, all of these other ones are WPA2, which is the most secure encryption out there, and it is the latest standard. But we will show you how to hack that later as well. Now, the final column here that I want you to see is this ED, which is the SID that it is connected to. And the SID here is the server side ID, is the name of the network, and we already talked about that as well. So when we go ahead and we use arrow_dump, the way that we are going to use it is we want to find the network that we want. So we use that arrow_dump ng WLAN0MON, and that got us something that looked like this. Now it constantly is changing and moving around unless you cancel out of it using Control C like I did. Now once you find something you want to listen to, you then want to dump that information that's being transmitted onto a file so that we can attack it later, because that's how we're going to be able to break out the keys. So what I want to do is figure out which network I want to go after. Now because we're in the WEP lessons, we're going to be going after wireless hacking, which is a WEP terminal encrypted. And what we need for that is we need this encryption, we need this server side ID. And so what we're going to do is we are going to type in the command arrow_dump ng, and then we're going to use --channel space and the channel number for it. In my case, that's channel 1. And then we are going to use --BSSID, excuse me, and then the MAC address for the one that we need. And in our case, it was this one. And so I'm just going to copy that so I don't have to type it and hit paste. And from there, we can then tell it where we want to write, which is --write, and then wherever you're going to call this file name. So we'll call this wireless hacking dump. And then we're going to use what card we're using, which was WLAN0MON. And so we'll go ahead and do that. It's going to be arrow_dump ng --channel 1 --BSID, the MAC address, --write, wireless hacking dump, and then WLAN0MON. Hit enter, and away it's going to go. Now you'll notice it's only listening to one channel and it's only listening for one SSID. So essentially we've told it, hey, we know you can listen to everything in promiscuous mode, but right now I want you to focus on this channel only. And you'll notice here the number of beacons is going up and the number of data is going up because it's capturing everything on this network. And what we're going to do is we're going to capture all of this so that we can then crack it later on as we go through our web encryption and web hacking lab.